Got some late breaking news, guys. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. They have released the footage of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, guys, of their testimonies that they did in front of Congress, y'all. Make sure you double tapping that screen. Let me know if you can hear me out there. Let me know if y'all can hear me out there, you know. Yeah, man, I know we got the thing going on in Iran right now. Yeah, but we also got some things that's going on over here on USR when it comes to the Epstein files. Can you hear me out there? What's up, Queen Sparkle Smash It? What's up, Queen Sparkle? Shout out to you. We in the building, guys. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if y'all can hear me out there. Yes, we can hear you. You know, let me know I can be heard out there, guys. Can y'all hear me? Let me know. As we get ready to run down through here, you know, when it comes to the testimony of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton with the Epstein files, guys, people have been waiting on this footage to be released. Yeah, man, they most definitely have released it, y'all. What's up with it, Miss Shireen? Can y'all hear me out there? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me out there? Let me know. I need a we can hear you in the chat, man. We can hear you. Can you guys hear me out there? Eagle soaring high. Can y'all hear me out there? Let me know. And said something about some eagles flying high. That ain't even. Yeah, okay, we can. All right. Bet. Yeah, I just have to make sure you can hear me out there. What's up, Yana? You know, we got Hillary, y'all. She went and testified in front of Congress. Of course, this happened a couple days ago. I showed y'all the footage of her basically summarizing what she had to say to those people. But today we got the actual video footage from inside of the Congress building where she gave her testimony at. You know, her and Bill, both of them. They released them both on the same day. We got hers and Bill. Or what they said about Epstein, guys. Knowing them things of that nature, man, yeah, you know I got it. Make sure you double tapping that screen. Most definitely get those likes up. If you haven't done so, double tap that screen. If you're on a mobile device, double tap your screen or click the three dots in the right-hand corner. Hit that thumbs up. You know, it helps out the channel, man. Share the channel out. You know, share it to your friends and family. You know, we over here basically trying to see what's going on with these Epstein files, guys. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Yeah, let me turn this music off real quick. Hold up. Turn the music off. Yeah, let me turn the music off. And we're going to get into a bit of what Hillary Clinton testified to, guys, as you know, as if we were in there with them while she was giving her testimony, guys. Yeah, let me tell y'all, she most definitely got fired up. It was a couple of tense moments off in it where people were like, ooh, man. Yeah, but it was most definitely happening, man. Her and Bill both got up there and spoke, guys. Hold on, let me get to it. Let's go.
Often when Congress subpoenas you, you go to Congress, not the other way around, but this is a very unusual case, as you know. Such a rare kind of case, but also seeing these depositions so quickly, having them released so quickly, also unusual. But again, this is a case, this is a story, this is an investigation about transparency. And remember...
And oh yeah, make sure you voting on the poll in the chat, guys. Do y'all think that Trump should have to go testify in front of Congress too, seeing that his name is off in there? And since Bill was a president at one time, he went in and basically had to testify. That means, you know, Trump should basically have to testify too. I don't know. I'm asking. You know, let me know on the poll what it is that you think, guys. You know, should Trump have to go give a deposition / testimony in front of Congress as well?
Why they are being questioned, okay? Aside from both of their names appearing multiple times in the Epstein files, right, the files that were released pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, as far as we can tell, by the way, there are no direct emails from either Bill or Hillary Clinton to Jeffrey Epstein or vice versa. But we already knew they were in his orbit. We already knew about this through other evidence like communications and travel records. We knew that the Clintons were connected to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. More specifically, that Clinton had traveled with Epstein for purposes of humanitarian work with the Clinton Foundation in the early 2000s after Bill Clinton left the office of presidency. And remember, this is before Jeffrey Epstein was charged in 2006 in Florida and ultimately pled guilty in 2008 to the state charges of solicitation.
Shout out to everybody in the building. I see y'all out there. Make sure y'all double tapping that screen, guys. Get the likes up. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely get those likes up. They help the channel, guys. You know, as we find out more about what happened with the testimony with Bill and Hillary Clinton involving this guy right here, Jeffrey Epstein, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Prostitution, including with a minor. Now, the reports indicate that Clinton had traveled on Epstein's private jet at least 24 times. This is per reporting by outlets like the BBC. And by the way, a lot of this travel was actually set up through Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted sex trafficker, and Clinton's top aide, Doug Band. And to be clear, there is no evidence, nothing in the files, nothing that's been released that suggests the Clintons were aware of any illegal activities or were a part of any illegal activities on the part of Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or her knowledge of Epstein's crimes. I just want to make that clear. And by the way, there was no evidence even that Bill or Hillary had visited Epstein's island. Now, having said that, a lot of this focus is on Bill Clinton rather than Hillary Clinton, right? I mean, remember, aside from the humanitarian work, you remember when photos were released? Him in a hot tub, him getting a massage or back rub. So with that being said, the committee released the videotaped depositions of both Bill and Hillary Clinton from last week. It's hours and hours worth of footage. We dissected to some of the more memorable parts.
Yeah, we getting all the good stuff, guys. We getting all the good stuff.
Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again.
Get to it, man.
I believe,
I don't want to
okay,
hear it.
let's start with Hillary Clinton.
Let's go with Hillary.
This is her opening statement for the committee, and this is where she talks about a lack of transparency.
Let me be as clear as I can. I do not. As I stated in my sworn declaration on January 13th, I had no idea about their criminal activities. I do not recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his...
She said she never met him. She never flew on his jet. She never, been in no parties where he was at or any of that. Never been to the island. So her question is, why are you guys why are you guys asking me questions, basically? Why are they speaking to Hillary, guys? She said she has no knowledge that can help them. Continue to double tap that screen, guys. Get the likes up as we hear what basically Hillary Clinton had to say in her sworn testimony to Congress about her involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, guys. Y'all got to get those likes up. If you're on a mobile device, double tap that screen or click those three dots in the right-hand corner, hit that thumbs up. Support the channel, guys. It helps us by hitting that like button. Shout out to everybody in the building.
Plane or visited his island, homes, or offices. I have nothing to add to that. A committee run by elected officials with a commitment to transparency would ensure the full release of all the files.
She say let them all go.
It would ensure that the lawful redactions of those files protected the victims and survivors, not powerful men and political allies. It would get to the bottom of reports that DOJ withheld FBI interviews in which a survivor accuses President Trump of crimes. It would subpoena anyone who asked on which night there would be the wildest party on Epstein's island. It would demand testimony from prosecutors from Florida, New York, and the Department of Justice about why they gave Epstein a sweetheart deal and chose not to pursue others who may have been implicated in his crimes. But that's not happening.
Yeah, she said gave Trump a sweetheart deal and chose to pursue others instead of pursuing him. Oh my goodness, this is good. What's up, Gillian? I see you.
Instead, you have compelled me to testify, fully aware that I have no knowledge that would assist your investigation in order to distract from President Trump's actions and to cover them up despite legitimate calls for answers. If this committee is serious about learning the truth about Epstein's trafficking crimes, it would not rely on press gaggles to get answers from our current president on his involvement. It would ask him directly under oath about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files.
What's up, Happy?
If the majority was serious, it would not waste time on fishing expeditions. There is too much to be done. This institutional failure is designed to protect one political party and one public official.
Trump, she said, basically saying this is designed to protect Trump and the the Republican Party, guys. She's saying this is completely against the Democrats. This is a cover-up for basically Trump and the Republicans. What y'all think?
Rather than to seek truth and justice for the victims and survivors, as well as inform the public who want to get to the bottom of this matter. My heart breaks for the survivors, and I am furious on their behalf.
Now, I mean, it seems that the argument is she's referring to those in the Trump administration, right? People who appear in the Epstein files that are not being properly investigated in her view, like Howard Lutnick, former neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein, United States Commerce Secretary. And by the way, he's a bit controversial because there were communications that would suggest he really didn't cut off contact when he said he cut off contact with Jeffrey Epstein, but also really focusing on President Donald Trump, right, who appears multiple times in the files, has faced uncorroborated allegations of abuse within the files, which, by the way, we've talked about.
They say Trump name in there over 1 million times, guys. Yeah, I feel like he most definitely need to say something in front of Congress. They got up there and said something. He need to go say something, even if he plead the fifth the whole time. I'm just saying, Trump, I feel like, and y'all can feel different, but I feel like Trump need to speak to them people.
In prior sidebars. But I gotta call out this moment. Okay, so this is where Hillary Clinton finds out that someone took a photo of her during this deposition. Remember, it was reported that it was Representative Lauren Boebert, okay, Republican, who shared a picture of her with a conservative commentator it was posted all online.
Oh, man, now check this out. This is one of the good parts. It's supposed to be nobody taking pictures, no cameras, no nothing inside of this testimony, inside of the building, basically, within where she's speaking. Well, this lady right here allegedly took a picture of Hillary while she was up there, basically talking. And, man, when I tell y'all Hillary got upset, boy, she was ready. She was ready to walk up out of there. Check this out.
It's a big no-no because the rules require no unauthorized video or photos of a closed-door deposition. Watch Hillary Clinton erupt.
You're showing me an email from someone who I don't recall knowing about a fundraiser that wasn't for me but was for Congresswoman Lowy. I have no information. Okay. I went to the fundraiser to support my friend Nita Lowy.
All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
There
another.
are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm
can
done
occur?
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home.
Oh, yeah?
This is just typical behavior.
Oh, yeah? Look at Hillary.
Can you
Uh-oh.
please explain how
Look at
that
her
I'm done
face.
with
She's
this. If you
serious.
guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would
sake.
like to
Yeah, she didn't like that, y'all. Yeah, don't be taking her picture. Man, y'all double tap the screen. Remember, if you're on a mobile device, double tap the screen of your mobile device or click those 3 dots in the right-hand corner, guys. Get the likes up. We need them over 100, man. Double tap that screen, guys, as we listen to Hillary, basically give her testimony to Congress. Let's get those likes up and make sure you voting on the poll. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, guys. Continue to double tap that screen. I appreciate y'all.
understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was.
It doesn't
Excuse me.
matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
Gillian, let's deport Ryan. We'll holler at you, Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't use the F word over here, or you getting deported, sir. You know what I'm saying? If it's forget my likes, it's forget you. We'll holler at you. Congratulations, you just got deported.
I will take that down.
Now you got the wrong
to
person.
take a
Get
break at this
Ryan.
moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Eventually, the testimony resumed. But now, I want to move on to something else, okay? I think we all knew this was probably going to come up. Monica Lewinsky, the president's former affair, right? I mean, there's a lot that came up over this when you knew the Clintons were going to testify. And after they testified, the argument came up that people say this is another example of Hillary Clinton addressing her husband's actions, this time with respect to Epstein. But there is an apparent connection that Republican Representative Nancy Mace is trying to make here between the two. And by the way, Nancy Mace has been quite vocal about the handling of the Epstein files and the need for further action. But take a look at this.
On December 19th, 1998, President Clinton was impeached on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice, which directly related to his extramarital affair with Monica Lewinsky. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh,
And your husband
Monica.
was impeached for perjury related to sexual
I did not have any relations with that woman. No, Monica.
behavior, correct?
I didn't understand what you said.
Your husband was impeached for perjury related to sexual behavior, his sexual behavior.
He was impeached for several reasons, and then was acquitted in the Senate.
And your husband flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 17 to 26 times, correct?
He made several trips with different legs on the trip, as I recall.
But he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane
Yes, he
17 to
did.
26 times? Were you aware that Secret Service was dropped on some of those flights?
That is not my understanding.
Where they were not on some of those flights?
That is not my
So
understanding.
your understanding is that Secret Service was on all of the flights that President Clinton was on?
That is
with
my
Epstein?
understanding.
By this standard of behavior, multiple credible accusers, including Juanita Broderick, who alleged rape against your husband was disbarred in Arkansas, lost his law license before the Supreme Court, flew on Epstein's plane dozens of times, visited Epstein's island.
That is not true. That is absolutely untrue.
Now, it's been said that Bill was on Epstein Island. Hillary said that's not true. Hillary said they lying. He was never there. Okay, let's go.
There's documentation in the DOJ files. I'm not sure you're aware, your attorneys have told you, but Jeffrey Epstein told one of the victims to lie to investigators, to lie that Bill Clinton was ever on Epstein Island. I can provide that document to you.
We would like that document, please.
Okay.
Yeah, counsel,
I can do
because
that.
actually the files say just the opposite. Epstein himself denied he was.
These are FBI notes from an interview with a victim. And I will get you the victim number and the case number and the files. These are notes from a 302
If
interview.
you'd like those, are you gonna provide those now?
I don't, that's not my line of questioning. She brought it up, but I have a
I'm
document I
sorry,
can give to
you're
you.
making a representation as to the facts.
I didn't enter anything as an exhibit.
But it's factually inaccurate.
No, I can give it to you later. I can go find the document, make copies of it, and give it to you.
Hold on. How many of y'all thought that Bill was actually on the island, guys? One, for if you knew, if you seen somewhere that he was on the island. Two, for if you knew that he was never there, guys. I was under the impression that Bill had been to the island several times until I just heard Hillary say that's not true. You know what I'm saying? One, if you felt like he had been there, if you heard somewhere he had been there, and two, if you already knew he was never at Epstein Island, let me know.
Afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Okay. By your standard of pattern of behavior, according to documents released by the Department of Justice, your husband appears in photos in swimming pools,
bunch
hot
of
tubs,
ones.
aboard Jeffrey Epstein's
though.
private plane with unidentified young women. We came here today
Okay.
and told this committee that a pattern of behavior demands accountability, correct?
I said that I believe the committee should call anyone who had a substantial pattern and practice of contact with Jeffrey Epstein and his crimes before they came to light.
Does that include your husband?
And after they came to light. You're going to have a chance to question him tomorrow.
So I'll ask
Which
you
they
again, by
did,
the
guys.
standard you just set in
Which
your
they did, and we got that too.
own words just now. Does this standard apply equally to your husband or only President Trump?
I have said that my husband has been subpoenaed. He will appear. He will answer your questions to the best of his ability. But there is no evidence whatsoever of any connection with Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. And I think that will be obviously apparent in the questioning.
What makes you so sure of that then? I mean, he's photographed with.
Objection
No,
is to speculate on something that's not.
Yeah, it is so speculative. I mean, swimming in a pool, sitting in a hot tub, there are millions of people who do that without any.
She's basically saying that those pictures of Bill are not incriminating, guys. There's millions of people who get in hot tubs with Ghislaine Maxwell, that wasn't good enough with him in the pool. The little pictures, she's basically saying that the pictures they have prove nothing.
improper behavior or certainly committing any crimes. So I
Do you think most of the
uh,
men are like your husband that did anything wrong? Why were they being surrounded by young women, giving them massages on Jeffrey's private estate or private plane? Are they all innocent then?
you know,
Just
you
because-
are making assumptions in your questions that have not been proven and I don't believe are provable.
Okay, why did you wait 6 months to have this hearing today or have this testimony?
You know, I've answered that. I thought that given the way that other witnesses who were subpoenaed at the same time were being treated, that there was an unfair treatment of both my husband and myself. And I thought that, especially from my perspective, I had very little, if any, information to provide you, and that I could have done it in a sworn statement, and you could have moved on to
She
depose.
said, yeah, he was in the pool. Yeah, he was in the hot tub, you know. But that still ain't saying he did nothing wrong. She's saying basically in the files, is nothing there that says that Bill did anything inappropriate with anyone that was underage. What y'all think about that? Shout out to that gift. Thank you.
Somebody else who might have more information that would be beneficial to your
I have two more
investigation.
questions.
We'll get back to the hot tub a little bit later, but now I want to talk about Howard Lutnick once again. Again, the current United States Secretary of Commerce, who
Thank
appears
you.
numerous times in the Epstein files. Again, was neighbors with Epstein, communicated with Epstein through emails. There is even a photo that may appear to be him with Epstein. Now, Hillary Clinton
Thank you.
is asked about him, and watch what happens.
Did it concern you at
For the
all that Hillary
testimony.
Shout out to
Maxwell
you,
was helping
Carlos.
all the
Thank you.
people you knew and were close to?
I knew people that I knew her. Yes, that's true.
And you just shrugged, you didn't.
Shout
wanna
out to
continue
Carlos, man, showing
Nobody,
that
you know,
love.
until her crimes were revealed and she was indicted and tried and convicted, I don't think people knew very much about at all what
then
she
how do you-
was.
World say Hillary was a lawyer. She good at this. I agree, man. She most definitely told them everything without telling them nothing. You know, she challenged pretty much everything that they said. Shout out to Flip Mode. Thank you.
Howard Lutnick.
I know Howard Lutnick because when I was senator on 9/11, the firm he headed, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered the greatest loss of life. As I recall, something like 650 of his employees were murdered by terrorists that day. Howard Lutnick missed being a victim because he was delayed dropping
know
his
that. I
child
asked
off
him.
to
Yeah.
kindergarten. You asked the question, I'm gonna answer your question.
Now you're gonna yell
This
at me.
was what I
Let's
spent
go,
my
Hillary.
time doing.
I'm a
I
survivor
Uh-oh.
trying to look out.
Uh-oh,
Howard
point a
Lutnick
finger. Let's go,
missed
Hillary.
being a victim because he was delayed dropping
know
his
that. I
child
asked
off
him.
to
Yeah.
kindergarten. You asked the question, I'm gonna answer your question.
Now you're gonna yell
This
at
was
me?
what I spent
You're
my
going to yell at me.
time doing.
I'm a
I
survivor.
spent
She looked pretty serious to me. I'm just saying.
Trying to look out for other survivors.
shout
trying
out
to
to you,
I
Flip
was taking
Mode.
care of
waited
the
6
people
months
who
to get
lost
here today.
3,000
6 months,
lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I have
about
met
Howard
with Epstein
Lutnick.
survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein.
Man, it's getting heated. Let's get them likes up. Double tap that screen, guys. I don't know why we ain't past 100 yet. Double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device or click the 3 dots, hit that thumbs up. Hey, man, Hillary telling them everything without telling them nothing. She's not playing the games with them. They not going to play with her up in her. Hillary say, y'all ain't finna play with me. She not playing. Absolutely not. She say, I ain't the one. Not for that. You is not finna play with me inside of her, you know, and try to trip me up on nothing. Beat on the table, got loud, everything. Yeah, I believe, hey, Hillary is not holding back, guys. They got her messed. They got Hillary all the way messed up. Man, double tap that screen. We need 4 more likes to get to 100, guys. Double tap that screen. Make sure you subscribing if you new. Don't act like you and your friends aren't the victims. Let's go. She's not playing. Why are you supporting her? Man, listen, this is an unbiased channel. You know, I support whatever I want to support. Why ain't you supporting her? I ain't supporting, you know what I'm saying? Nothing really. I'm just saying she getting feisty in there. You don't like that she getting feisty? She telling them how a TI is, whether they like it or not, you know? I'm just saying, I'm supportive of all parties. You know, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I do want justice for the Epstein victims. I don't care who they take down with them in order to get them the justice. They deserve justice, man. Get them ladies justice, man. This is horrible. This is sick. Millionaires, billionaires, leaders of countries just doing whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. You know, come on, man. I'm on the side of right.
dropping
know
his
that. I
child
asked
off
him.
to
Yeah.
kindergarten. You asked the question, I'm gonna answer your question.
Now you're gonna yell
This
at
was
me?
what I spent
You're
my
going to yell at me.
time doing.
I'm a
I
survivor
spent
trying
my-
to look out for other
Well,
survivors trying to
and
protect
I
one
was
another.
taking care
You
of
waited
the
6
people
months
who
to get
lost
here today.
3,000
6 months,
lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I have
about
met
Howard
with Epstein
Lutnick.
survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein, that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did
but
not.
Howard Lutnick was
If you
used
have
to
an
get money.
email with me asking Jeffrey
I
Epstein
have
for
an
money,
email from Howard Lutnick sending it to
what's the
Jeffrey
question?
Epstein and his people to
I
raise
don't-
money for
I don't
you
know about-
for an event, an intimate event for you at his office.
Shout out to Campbell.
You're going to sit
If
here
you-
today
if
you
and
let
me finish.
obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey
I didn't.
Epstein when
I
there was an
didn't.
intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnick emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to
Shout
your
out to
intimate
Flip
event
Mode.
at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so I'm not going to put, you want to yell at me, that's fine, but I'll yell right back.
Well,
okay? I am looking out for
it's
Uh-oh,
Sarah.
they're gonna
I'm
have a
doing the
yelling
job that you
match.
would not do and refuse to do as Secretary of State. Thank you, and I yield back to
no,
Congresswoman.
I'm gonna finish answering the question, which I have a right to do.
Uh-oh.
I am very sympathetic to your personal situation. I have read about it. I have seen you testify or speak on the floor about it. And I very much sympathize with not only what you went through, but appreciate your effort to stand up for survivors. I was a senator representing the people who were murdered on 9/11. Nobody lost more people than Howard Lutnick. You can say whatever you want. You can call him and have him appear before the committee.
Wow, somebody said you're a liar, Hillary. Okay, let's go.
But I knew him as the man who lost the employees that he knew intimately, including his brother.
And he was.
So I
Somebody said, let's go,
girl.
girl.
Money for you.
Let her finish her
You
answer.
know what? If you don't want to hear
Listen
what
to Hillary.
emotionally affected me, that's fine. But that's why I know.
Y'all know what? She giving off Nancy Grace right here. She reminds me of Nancy Grace. If Nancy Grace was up there, that's how Nancy will be acting. But let's go.
Howard Lutnick. I went to the memorial service every 9/11 after the formal service was held.
I see what you're doing
with
here,
all-
and you're
with
obfuscating
all
from
of
the
his
questions. He was
people, the
go-between
families.
between you and Jeffrey Epstein raising money for
Well,
your
you know, Howard Lutnick and I did work
Thank you. I will
together
now yield
because
to
we had a
Congresswoman
lot of
Warner.
victims
Thank you.
to take care of, and we worked together to
Somebody said
rebuild
she is lying.
downtown Manhattan. That is how I know Howard Lutnick.
Why don't you, want to get over here?
Fine, I'll do the heavy lifting.
Or you could like get ready.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, now I want to go back to Lauren Boebert, who had this
I like the way she was handling that. I'm just saying, whether she guilty or not guilty, she's handling that. She's handling them really well right now. I'm just saying, maybe that's what y'all saying with that with her lawyer training, because she is serving them right now.
very interesting back and forth on this one. Now, you remember the 2016 conspiracy theory about Pizzagate? Mentioned this in a prior sidebar about references to pizza in the Epstein files, people making connections between the two.
It was pizza boxes in Diddy trial too, wasn't it? Y'all remember the audio that was leaked that said go take out the rest of those pizza boxes. Let's go.
Pizzagate was the unfounded theory that you had this sex trafficking pedophile ring featuring prominent Democratic figures was being run out of a DC pizza shop.
Hey, Karen,
Boebert
thank you.
asks Hillary Clinton about this.
In past public statements, as in 2017 speeches and interviews, you described Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child sex trafficking ring from the
Wow.
Washington pizzeria basement.
Now, I did hear something about that. I be hearing people saying sick Hillary and you know, things of that nature. It's going to be very interesting to see how she answers this question regarding Pizzagate. Let's go.
Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims regarding the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code possibly?
I'm sorry, does
You're
this
asking
relate?
her about whether she's reviewed emails in the Epstein files, which relate to the wacky Pizzagate.
They
You can
called it
characterize it however
wacky.
you want. I just would like to know if she's familiar with any of them.
So
She's
excuse me,
commenting.
your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein release files about Pizzagate.
Correct.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria.
She said that it was pure fiction, guys. Hillary Clinton says that Pizzagate was pure fiction.
I can't believe you're even referencing it. You should be.
There are connections to the language.
Well,
I'm
the
not talking
QAnon
about-
people believe there are, so.
I don't know what QAnon
have at
people
it.
believe.
Have at it.
But you've accused certain parties, and I think even right now today, of promoting slow walking or information in ways that fuels conspiracies. In your view, did any Epstein-Maxwell related investigations or file handling pre or post 2019?
Shout out to everybody that just made it in the building. We listening to the testimony before Congress from Hillary Clinton, guys. Been a lot of key moments in here. Make sure you're double tapping the screen. If you just entered the building, man, that's how you hit the like button. If you're on a mobile device, just double tap that screen or click the 3 dots, hit that thumbs up, guys. Make sure that you also subscribing to the channel, man. We trying to grow. Shout me out if you got a channel. You know what I'm saying? Let's get back to Hillary.
Tribute to or intersect with the spread of Pizzagate style theories about Democrat figures.
Objection.
I have no way of answering. That is the most
Speculation.
ridiculously.
Have you or your representatives identified any Epstein file content that has been misinterpreted online to revive those claims? And what steps, if any, have you taken to clarify?
Again, object on the ground of.
I think that this is all very
Speculation.
reasonable.
Well, first of all, I don't follow the crazy conspiracy stories that are online. I regret that anybody does. I find it quite sad, but also.
Question for the room, chat. Do y'all think that Hillary was really involved in the quote unquote Pizzagate? Let me know in the chat. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you think that the Pizzagate was a real thing? Let me know.
Disturbing that people would believe some of what is put forth, like Pizzagate. So I have taken no steps to review
I see a
anything
bunch of ones.
Do you think
that might
pizza-
have any connection to
Whoa,
something which
the
I
ones
think
are out wearing the
is
twos. I
totally
see some twos though, but I
bogus.
see a lot
Next
of ones.
question, want to provide a little
Wow.
context here. So
a lot
remember
of y'all
Anthony
believe it. I
Weiner
see it down there.
served in the U.S.
They
House of
said Bill
Representatives,
was too,
had to resign
allegedly.
over claims
Okay.
he sent women sexually suggestive photos. Then there was the whole scandal of him texting a teenager who was
Bunch of
convicted
ones.
of having
That's the
sent
ones are-
obscene
one-
material to a
ones
child.
have
He was
took over
released
the
after
chat,
18
guys.
months in prison. Now, he was connected to Hillary Clinton because his then wife, Uma Abedin, had been an aide to Clinton. And during the investigation into Weiner,
Wow,
the
bunch of
FBI
ones.
found emails belonging to Abedin on Weiner's laptop. And then that led
Shout
FBI
out to
Director
Flip
James
Mode.
Comey to announce that the FBI was reopening its
One.
investigation, its
Goodness.
probe into Clinton's handling of official emails.
I ain't gonna lie, from what I'm seeing right now, the ones are winning, guys. Ones have flooded the chat, guys. A bunch of y'all feel like Pizzagate is a real thing, but I see the twos. But just know that the ones are outweighing the twos right now. You know, a lot of the people in the building feel like, you know, Pizzagate was a real thing. Okay.
And this was before the 2016
Thank you, Flip
election.
Mode.
Guess what? She was asked about this in the deposition. Not happy.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled
Excuse me,
Frazzled?
This is way outside the
chairman's
scope.
ruling.
This is
this
way
within the
outside the
scope?
scope.
This-
Is this within the scope, Mr.
If
Chairman?
the chairman rules that it's
Let's
not.
go.
I
Mr.
have
Chairman,
other
based on what
questions.
you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment.
Mr.
Hey, y'all saying Hillary a lawyer, but from what I'm seeing from her team right here, lawyers, they ain't playing around either.
Chairman, is this within the scope?
Go off the record.
One more part I want to address real quickly regarding Hillary Clinton. Things got tense when she brought up Republican lawmakers.
You know, I also find it very interesting because I went back and looked at the transcripts of all of your other depositions, and None of the Republicans asked a single question to any witness about Jeffrey Epstein, or any question that would help provide answers for his victims to any of the people you deposed. In fact, the only questions that were asked by the chairman to Attorney General Barr. And what were they about? They weren't about Jeffrey Epstein. They weren't about Ghislaine Maxwell. They weren't about victims and survivors. They were, General Barr, I may jump in for a couple of questions. Were you aware of the involvement of Hillary Clinton and the Clinton campaign in the Russian collusion investigation involving President Trump?
Call them out then.
Well,
Just calling out the Republican Party.
I'm just saying, you have kept me here for hours asking the same questions over and over again. I've given the same answers over and over again. Not a single Republican at any of your depositions has asked a question about Epstein or Maxwell. And it does seem to me that if the members were truly interested in getting to the truth, you would have asked Barr, Acosta, Wexner, you didn't even show up at.
Secretary, I believe we are very close to finishing.
Okay, now I want to talk about former President Bill Clinton's videotape deposition. Pretty historic to have a president testify under oath like this. Haven't seen it in decades.
All right, so that was, of Hillary's, guys. As you seen, her team wasn't messing around. They wasn't playing no games. Before he moves on to Bill, I want to ask y'all, why do y'all think that they were questioning Hillary? Why even ask her questions if she says that she has nothing to add to the investigation, nothing that she can possibly tell them? Why did they interrogate her? Why did she have to talk? Could it have been, basically to get her to speak so that Melania Trump, who has actual ties to this Epstein situation, would have to testify? Could that be the reason? 1 for yes, 2 for no.
Allie in Chappaqua, MSNBC senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin, and host of the Tara Palmieri podcast, and author of the Red Letter on Substack, Tara Palmieri. All right, so Allie, let me play what Comer said just a few moments ago regarding some testimony.
Let's go. I see them ones. Boy, the ones is flooding again.
I want to make a statement because they'll probably not mention this when they come out here. Ranking Member Garcia asked President Clinton, quote,
Let's go, Ken.
Should President Trump be called to answer questions from this committee?
Should they get Trump
and
in
President
there?
Clinton said, that's for you to decide. And the president went on to say that the president, Trump, has never said anything to me to make me think he was involved.
Okay, so Allie, that was Comer's characterization of what President Clinton said. Congressman Garcia just was speaking a moment ago, and he said that's not quite accurate.
That's exactly right. And I think there's two things that struck me, because this was also the exchange that I think I pulled out as the most important and substantively impactful of what we just heard from lawmakers as they gaggled with us and then went into a deposition break. To me, it says two things. First is that Democrats keep trying to respect this idea that they are not supposed to. I
see more ones than twos. They feel like Melania should have to, Melania, however you say her name, Trump's wife should have to testify.
Until the transcript and video are released.
If Hillary did it, she can do it.
Republicans and Comer doing a pretty good job of trying to set the narrative of what is said inside. And the reason that I think what Comer said there is important and also gives us some insight into how he might be thinking about the future of this investigation is that they are trying to use Bill Clinton as a way to rebut claims from Democrats and others who say, okay, if you got a former president in Bill Clinton, why are you not asking President Trump, who has mentioned hundreds of times?
Somebody said, yeah, why stop at the Clinton? Everybody testified.
Person in there, or one of the top mentioned people in the files. And Comer, by trying to use Clinton to say, well, Clinton says he never had any reason to think that Trump was involved with Epstein, they're basically trying to cut that line of inquiry off at the pass. Obviously, Garcia and Democrats were not going to just let that go. They very much want to use the fact that Clinton is here before the committee as leverage for why Trump himself should be called before the committee. But to me, it tells me that
Bill was a president as well, just like Trump is.
Is aware of the door that he may have opened by getting the Clintons, giving the conservative red meat of these favorite villains for Republicans, putting them back in the deposition spotlight. that he's also now aware of the door that it opens for people to say, okay, if you've got Clinton, why are you not asking for Trump? Or even more than that, if the committee wants to ask spouses who don't have insight into their husband's actions, for example, as Hillary Clinton didn't into Bill,
Let's go.
then why are you not also asking Melania Trump,
Let's
who, by
go.
the way, is actually pictured in some of the Epstein files and has at least one correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell. Right?
Yeah,
So
why not?
it opens up this sticky line of partisan questioning, and that's what I saw in Comer there, trying to rebut
Or
that.
frankly, Marla Maples, who is said to have found Epstein to be off and odd. Why would she? And he was at her wedding as well, and at Melania Trump's wedding to Donald Trump. So if the spouses are now fair game, what about those two women? I want to get to that in a moment because, Tara, you've got some interesting reporting regarding somebody else linked to Melania Trump and Epstein, and I do want to drill into that. But first, let's talk a little bit more about Bill Clinton. He had an opening statement today.
Let's not. Let's go back to Bill. You know, let's get it from Bill. All right, this is what Bill said to Congress, guys, in his testimony. I just wanted to hit y'all with that since they started talking about, you know, why were they questioning Hillary? Could that be a buildup to get Melania in there? I'm just asking.
And particularly regarding this case.
On August 5th, 2025, Chairman Comer issued a subpoena for President Clinton to appear today for a deposition in furtherance of the committee's investigation into the actions and investigations of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell. Can the witness please state his name for the record?
William Jefferson Clinton.
Thank you.
And here is Bill Clinton's opening statement.
I'm here today
Oh, Bill looks sick, man. He going through some things.
basically for two reasons. First of all, I love my country and the Constitution, and I believe America was built on the idea that no one is above the law, especially presidents, and that we should all live by the same set of rules shaped by the Constitution. Democracy requires every person to follow the flag, and I hope that by the end of the day, we can bring ourselves a little further away from the brink and back to being a country where we can disagree civilly and search for the truth and justice, and that outweighs the partisan urge for spectacle and point scoring. I will do my part, and I hope you'll do yours. The second reason I'm here is that the girls and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed deserve not just justice, but healing. They've been waiting too long for both. Through my brief acquaintance with Jeffrey Epstein, though it ended years before his crimes came to light, and though I never witnessed during our limited interactions any indication of what was going on, I'm here to offer what little I know so I can do my part to prevent something like this from happening again.
And I will tell you, he had
We need 40 more likes to hit 200, guys.
thoughts.
About his wife's deposition, too.
I have to say one personal thing. Since Hillary came in yesterday, she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing. There's a picture of us both shaking hands with him in a photo line in 1993 at a fundraiser for the White House Historical Association. I don't know how it is under President Trump, but when I was there, it was about the most non-political operation you can imagine. There were people who loved the White House, who were interested in it, would give a little money every year to do things that needed doing around the house. And nothing nearly as extravagant as the ballroom or any of that, just things that had to be done. And neither she nor I remembered shaking his hand all those years ago. So I don't think that was right. On the other hand, I do think you should be talking to me. I think you should have called me. I did take those plane trips with him. And you have a right to ask those questions.
All right, so Bill taking accountability, said, hey, I was on the plane. I did take some of those trips. You got every reason to ask whatever you want to ask. Let's see how he answers.
So I'm glad to be here, and I understand what the oath is. I have to be honest with you. You know, I'll be 80 years old if I live to the next birthday. I don't remember everything that happened 24 years ago, but I do remember some things, and I will tell you what I remember as best I can. We, each of us, owe the victims nothing less than the truth and accuracy. We owe that to the American people.
Again, there is an argument that Hillary Clinton really wouldn't have much to provide or answer for with respect to Epstein.
So why did they question her, guys? Yeah, I think that they're opening up the gates to question Melania and Trump, guys. So what I think, if Clinton can do it, then Trump can do it too.
Maxwell, even though, by the way, Maxwell was a +1 at their daughter Chelsea's wedding, but it was really the focus was on Bill, right? It seemed that he had a lot to answer for. So this is where Bill Clinton talks about his first encounter with Jeffrey Epstein.
And you mentioned that your first memory of interacting with Mr. Epstein was on your first trip. Which trip specifically?
I'm not sure which one it was. I took all or part of 4 or 5 trips to Asia and Africa and one to Northern Europe on Mr. Epstein's airplane. And once when I was in Florida, I was offered a ride back to New York. I wasn't there having that. It was just coincidental that he was there. And I think that was fairly early in the process, but I don't remember exactly. I just know that I did. I took one flight back from Florida to New York, and all are part of several.
Oh, y'all believe in Bill so far, guys? We're 30 away from 200, guys. Double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device, or click those 3 dots and hit that like button. It helps out the channel, guys. Get the likes up. We should be well past 200 by now, guys. Double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device, or click the 3 dots, hit the thumbs up as we listen to President Clinton basically give his account of why he took trips with Jeffrey Epstein. Do y'all believe he innocent of this, or, you know, do y'all believe that he's lying? Let me know down there in the comments.
I think 4 or 5 trips to Africa, Asia, and one to Northern Europe.
Then he gets more into the nature of his relationship with the deceased financier.
Can you briefly describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Well, sometime after I left the White House, either in late 2001 or early-ish in 2002, I received a call from Larry Summers, who had been on my economic team and was later Secretary of Treasury, and was then president of Harvard. And he said
This is the same guy that said, yeah, I hit it, but I did not inhale. Same guy that says, I did not have relations with that woman. Oh, Bill.
He was calling because a man named Jeffrey Epstein, who had made a substantial commitment of several $1 million, I think it was 10, but whatever it was, I don't know, to brain research. And that he was a information hungry person, and he wanted to spend some time talking to me about economics and politics. And he said, he's got this massive airplane, and he said he would take you, your staff, your Secret Service detail, and anybody else you wanted to bring on the trips that he knew I was planning to set up a global network to provide life-saving AIDS medicine.
It's hard to believe that Bill is 80 years old now, guys. 79, finna be 80.
Many people as possible, as quickly as possible.
Mr. President, when did your relationship with Mr. Epstein end?
When did it end? Well, I believe I took my last flight in 2003. Now, later, I became aware of some involvement he had in the first Clinton Global Initiative, but it was much later.
Why did your relationship with
Mr. Epstein end?
Well, after a year or two, we really picked up a head of steam with this AIDS program, and a lot of other people whom I knew better and who really cared about the work came forward and offered to help us provide transportation. And I thought Mr. Epstein was an interesting man, but I didn't think he was really interested in what I was doing. That is, he asked all these questions. He did ask about economics and politics, as he said he would. And he never asked me anything untoward. It's just that I thought I had done what I promised to do, and he had done what he promised to do. And
so Bill say he wasn't involved in none of that kinky stuff.
I've always, over the years, with these donors, tried not to overstay my welcome. I thought that we'd done enough, and then it's time to start working with other people.
When did you first learn of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes?
I think in 2008, when he was prosecuted. There's nothing that I saw when I was around him that made me realize he was trafficking women, and I never.
Let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. When did you first meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I believe I first met her with him when she was working with him.
And what did you understand Miss Maxwell, and what did you understand her relationship to be with Mr. Epstein?
I thought she was sort of his chief of staff or administrator.
And you said that you first met Miss Maxwell with Mr. Epstein. Is that after you were president?
Yeah, I don't believe I met her when I was president. I could have. I met a lot of people, I don't remember, but I definitely remember meeting her on that first flight.
Can you briefly, for the record, describe the nature and extent of your relationship with Miss Maxwell?
Yes, it was. It lasted longer and was more extensive than my relationship with.
I said the same thing, Ghetto.
Mr. Epstein, because Ghislaine Maxwell started going with a man named Ted Waite, who had made a lot of money making the first sort of self-designed computers. And he was a big supporter of mine and the foundation before he started seeing Ghislaine. We had been friends, and he was interested particularly in reducing pollution in the oceans. And so when she started going with him, I would see her from time to time.
And when did your relationship with Miss Maxwell end?
I don't think I've seen her in a decade. I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know exactly when.
Why did your relationship with Miss Maxwell end?
Well, at first she moved to.
Is Bill memory foggy, or is he trying to remember the lie? Let me know.
Boston, I think. She had a relationship with a man there, and I think they may have married. And so she wasn't so much around, and she, then when it became, after 2019, when it became obvious that she was involved too, to an extent that I did not know, that was the end of it.
Now, while I mentioned the interaction with Epstein was before the criminal charges, right, in 2006, and then the guilty plea in 2008, Clinton is asked if authorities had reached out to him and whether Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell were part of intelligence agencies, right? This goes to the idea of the pair honey trapping very powerful and influential and wealthy men for blackmail purposes, right? Possibly for foreign governments.
Mr. President, for the record, have you ever been contacted by any law enforcement agency concerning Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
As far as I know, no. That is, as far as I remember. Back in 2008, I sort of thought somebody might ask me something. Because I was glad this had come out since it had happened. But I don't believe anybody ever did.
You mentioned that you thought someone would want to ask you something. Can you elaborate on what that means?
Just because he let me use this airplane.
And to be clear, have you ever provided any information to any law enforcement agency concerning Jeffrey Epstein or Miss Ghislaine Maxwell?
So you asked this question before, you're just asking him to reiterate the response to the question that he previously asked you, Mr. President.
I don't believe any law enforcement agency has ever asked me. And I didn't know enough to volunteer anything.
Mr. President, are you aware of any efforts by anyone, including an attorney, process server, investigator, or any other person to contact you regarding any civil lawsuit, claim, or litigation involving Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
Not that I recall.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever inform or represent to you that he was working with any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
No.
Did Ghislaine Maxwell ever inform or represent to you that she was working with any intelligence service of any nation, including the United States?
No.
And during your relationship, did you ever suspect Epstein or Maxwell of being affiliated with any intelligence agency?
I did not.
All right. Now, you know that the former president was going to be asked about massages and young girls, right? And also, by the way, he was asked about, we've talked about this before, remember Epstein's 50th birthday compilation book that was put together by Ghislaine Maxwell? There's an entry from Bill Clinton. It reads, "It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends."
Okay, my next question for you is, have you ever had contact with an individual by the name of Shantae Davies?
I believe Shantae that's a distinctive name, and so I think that was the name of one of his flight attendants.
Okay. She's been described on being on a 2000.
He smiled about that. Oh, that Shantae, oh, yeah, this sound like, yeah, you remember her, don't you?
Had contact with an individual by the name of Shantae Davies.
Oh, he remember her.
I believe Shantae that's a distinctive name, and so I think that was the name of one of his
All
flight
smiles.
Okay. She's been described on being on a 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Okay.
And I think Shantae did it, but I'm not.
But he all smiles about Shantae. They piqued Bill's interest when they said Shantae. He remember her, but he said, man, he only got a massage while he got his back massaged while he was sitting in the chair. That's all he did. How many of y'all are buying that, boy? Bill got a smile on his face.
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guffrey, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Objection, speculation, he can't possibly.
Have you ever met her or any other Epstein associated underage girl?
Not to my knowledge.
In Epstein's 2016 deposition unsealed in the DOJ files, he refused to answer if you were accompanied by 2 young women who were approximately 18 years old on the island. Were any such women potentially underage with you? I know you've stated that you were not there, but did you have any interaction with the said
Objection to the foundation of the question. He's already stated he was not on the island. You're now asking about a claim of the Fifth Amendment by Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 13. And this is Bates marked House Oversight 000126. And while it's being passed out, this is a letter from a book of letters, which
it's his 50th birthday.
Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday.
Questions?
All right, you remember that?
Yep,
Mr. President, do you recognize this
I
letter?
do.
And for the record, does this appear to be your handwriting and
It
signature?
is.
And why did
This
you
is
write
handwriting.
this letter?
He wrote it.
Why did I? Because I was requested to contribute a nice letter for his birthday book.
And who asked you to write the letter?
I don't remember.
Would Miss
So he
Maxwell-
was asked to write the letter that's in question, guys. He says that somebody asked him to write that letter, say a couple of good things about Jeffrey for his 50th birthday. Y'all think he did it from the heart, or was he really asked to write it? And even if somebody asked him, why did he write it?
will have
I
asked
don't
you?
know. I think someone on my staff asked me.
Now, there's a word that our committee has not been able to identify, and in our defense, the Wall Street Journal has not been able to identify.
Imagine being on his staff.
Can you please read the letter for the record?
Yes. It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted so long across all the years of learning and knowing adventures.
Old
and-
Bill hands ain't steady no more. They shaking, Lord Jesus. But he's 79, finna be 80, guys. It's hard to believe that Bill has gotten that old, guys. Wow.
Errors, and still to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. Not a bad letter.
And because we haven't been able to identify that word until now, what did you
Which
mean?
word was it that you could not?
Solace, you couldn't,
No, errors.
errors. What did I mean? Anybody who's lived 50 years and done anything has made mistakes as well as progress and done things.
But for the record, you weren't referring to errors in judgment that Mr. Epstein had related to his inappropriate activities involving young.
Absolutely not. I knew nothing about that.
And then we get to the hot tub photo.
What we're trying to get at is some
All right,
context
this is
for
about the hot tub photo, guys.
on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo, recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway.
Why Bill keep on smiling, man?
This picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg
You said we, is it, who is that including?
Well, my TEL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and
Okay.
Miss Maxwell, but anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. He said he wanted to
I
help
see
me
y'all
with
in this comment
my AIDS
section.
initiative, and he's invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did, and then I got out and went to bed exhausted.
Just for the record, there's another picture.
Say he
that-
got out the pool, you know what I'm saying, and went to bed exhausted. Yeah, let's point that out.
That also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
You should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
Yes, it's noted.
it'll
Yes.
give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure he knew the.
And so were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well, there's
He's asking you in the pool
it appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here, or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area were there other
Yes,
individuals?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know?
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish, and I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
Is he
No, it was
lying,
a
guys?
hotel room, and
They asked him about the pool. He getting tripped up. Hold on. Is he telling the truth or is he lying? Let's see this.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
you should have it. It's quite enlightening. If you watch this,
He said all the people in the hot tub that were involved were basically part of the travel entourage, but he wasn't sure of their ages, guys.
It's noted.
it'll
Yes.
give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure he knew the.
And so were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten that there was anybody in the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well, there's
He's asking you in the pool
it appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here, or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area were there other
Yes,
individuals?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know?
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party, he's asking you?
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish, and I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water of this big pool was on the same floor that there were several suites, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got.
Gillian say she be around people and she don't know their age. All right, Gillian, let's go. Gillian say he telling the truth.
Went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any sexual activity
No.
with this person? Okay, thank you.
He did not have relations with that
Virginia
woman
Dupre
either.
is also asked in this document.
The same one you handed us?
Yes, ma'am.
So we should be looking at,
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down. JS is speaking. Were sexual orgies a regular occurrence on the island at Jeffrey's house? Yes. My question, Mr. President, were you ever aware or engaged in any of these sexual orgies?
are these on the island where he's testified that he's
No,
not
ma'am,
been on the island?
Where we at on the likes, guys? Oh man, we should have more than 300. Hit the like button, guys.
Was never on the island.
Were you ever on any island in the Virgin Islands?
To travel for a trip with his wife, which is on the public record? I'm
With
sorry, what's
Jeffrey
your
Epstein?
question?
No.
You were never in the Virgin Islands with
Jeffrey Epstein, no.
And I gotta say, the final one I want to talk about right now
This
is very
is wild,
interesting.
guys.
Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? You know, there's been a lot of speculation about that, even though it was officially determined Epstein.
He asked if this man unalived himself. It still reports out right now that says that this guy may be alive, allegedly. That it's a lot of people that believe Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. Are you one of those people?
In his jail cell at the MCC in August of 2019 while awaiting federal sex trafficking charges. Though the Epstein files, I will tell you, didn't quiet that conversation. When you look at the materials, I think it just continues the conversation one way or another. There were reports of a decoy body being moved out, or a missing minute of surveillance footage, or this orange blob moving up the stairs to Jeffrey Epstein's cell, to the actual photos of his dead body, to internal reports about Epstein's mental health leading up to his death. Just continued the conversation. Well, one of the theories is that Epstein was murdered, right? That he was killed, so he couldn't share what information he had with respect to other people or on other people. Former president was asked about this.
Mr. President, there's been new information that has come out regarding the autopsy of Mr. Epstein. I would just like to ask you personally and directly, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Are you asking him to speculate on how Mr. Epstein died?
I'm asking what the president thinks of.
So you're asking his opinion?
Mr. President, was your friend Jeffrey Epstein
Are you
suicidal?
classifying him as a friend who he has testified that he was
Has called
friendly?
him a friend in a letter.
He said he was friendly, but not, you've asked for his testimony.
Mr. President, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was suicidal?
These lawyers are on their A game, guys. They are on their A game. The Clinton's lawyers are top tier, guys.
Do you know?
Was he ever
She's asking for the
suicidal?
best of your
I
understanding.
don't know. I only know what the medical finding was. I think maybe
That's it.
he finally got caught, and I don't know. I've accepted it in my own mind. I don't know what happened,
Mr. President, what did you accept? That he killed himself or that he did not?
but he did, but I don't know.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Neither do
Mr.
you.
President.
We don't, none of us know. We weren't there.
Mr. President, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
So again, I think we might do a deeper dive into this testimony, maybe.
All right, so the testimony was actually like 4 hours long, guys, but they gave us some of the better parts of the testimony, man, with Hillary and Bill, guys. It is most definitely crazy. All right, so right after Bill did this, he released a statement. Here go Bill's statement that he released to the world after he gave this testimony.
Testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee. I did it for two reasons. First, I love my country, including our Constitution. And America was built on the idea that no person is above the law, even presidents, especially presidents. And that we should all live under the same.
Did y'all hear what he said? Nobody is above the law, not even presidents, any presidents. I think they're going to try to get Trump and Melania up in there. That's the overall goal. What y'all think? Let me know.
Even presidents, especially presidents. And that we should all live under the same set of rules. This kind of democracy requires every person to play their part. And I hope that by being here today, we can bring ourselves just a little further away from the brink and back to being a country where we can disagree civilly and we can search for truth and justice, and that it outweighs the partisan urge to score points and create spectacle. The second reason I was there is that the girls and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein destroyed.
Yeah, Melania,
deserve not just
however you
justice,
say her
but
name.
healing. They've been waiting too long for both. Though my brief acquaintance with Epstein ended years before his crimes came to light, and though I never witnessed during our limited interactions any indication of what was truly going on, I offered the little I do know in the hopes that it would help prevent anything like this from ever happening again. I also have to say something personal. Republicans made Hillary testify yesterday.
Oh, the Republicans, all right, it's a political thing. Remember, Hillary was talking about what the Republicans did. Now we got Bill talking about the Republicans. Let's see what he say.
And she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, nothing. She has no memory of ever even meeting him. She neither traveled with him nor visited any of his properties. So
Bill taking up for Hillary. He say, man, she don't know nothing about nothing. She don't remember going there, talking to him, being around him, nothing. She wasn't on the plane or nothing. That was all him.
10 people or 10,000 people were subpoenaed, including her, was simply not right. So here's what I told the committee. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos they show of me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not the sweetheart deal we got. But even with 20/20 hindsight, I saw nothing that ever gave me real pause. We're only here today because Epstein hid it from everyone so well for so long. And by the time it came to light...
No, it was sick. That's why we here. Not because he hit it. It was sick. Man, what is we doing?
With his 2008 guilty plea, I had long stopped associating with it. When the video of my testimony today is released, I hope it will motivate everyone to go in front of Congress to say what they know. I hope it will motivate the Justice Department to finally release all the files and to ensure that this never happens again. The survivors deserve that.
All right, so the Clintons seem to be on the side of the survivors, guys. They seem to be on the side of the survivors. All right, let's go back. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, this ain't the one I'm looking for. Hold up, it got ahead of me. Let's go back here.
That laid out, I guess,
they talking about Bill's testimony, guys.
The committee, and he says, I'm going to paraphrase it. I didn't see anything. I didn't know anything. I didn't do anything wrong.
I think that's a pretty good distillation of what both Bill and Hillary Clinton have each said previously, Katie, and not just said it. They swore to it in declarations that they offered to the committee mid-month last month in lieu of testimony. And he said in his declaration, I'm going to read to you, to state plainly, I had no personal knowledge of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein or Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal activities, including those to which Mr. Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida in 2008, those for which he was investigated and charged in New York in 2019, and those for which Ms. Maxwell was found guilty in 2021. However, I do think that there were some legitimate questions to be asked of President Clinton, notwithstanding that statement. And those include questions, not limited to, but those include questions about his 2002 travel with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. They traveled together on multiple occasions that year, including sort of an infamous trip to Africa on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, where many other notable people were present. One of the things that I think we need to better understand about that trip, as an emergency room physician who accompanied them on the trip to ensure that Bill Clinton, as the former president, was adequately taken care of. He said, look, everybody else on the trip, and he said this in a statement to the FBI, everybody else on the trip had a designated purpose or a reason to be there. You could explain why they were on that plane. And yet, there were 4 women there whose presence I could not explain. They were all in their early 20s, appeared to be 20 to 22. One was described to me as a ballerina, another a former model. But everybody else was there for philanthropic reasons, because they had policy expertise. And of course, Epstein was there because he contributed the plane. That ER doctor honed in on something that I think is legitimate to ask Bill Clinton about. What did you think those 4 girls were doing on the plane? And should you have asked more questions or disassociated from Jeffrey Epstein as a result of that?
I'm sorry, I misspoke a moment ago. He was not at Melania's wedding to Donald Trump. My bad on that, but he was at Marla Maples' wedding. But back to Bill Clinton and the women on the plane. Okay, he's got 4 young women on the plane. They don't appear to be underage. and maybe he thought this guy is a playboy, fine. But Bill Clinton was around Jeffrey Epstein more than that. And
Yes, of
Jeffrey
course.
Epstein had a certain reputation even in 2002 and before.
He was already a
about
creep.
liking, I mean, we saw the birthday book about liking young girls.
Well, let's talk about the infamous New York Magazine profile. I mean, again, if you want to draw some connective tissue about Clinton and Trump.
So Clinton saying that he separated himself, and I guess she finna go into Trump saying he separated himself from Epstein before they knew, but these people are saying basically he had been a creep the whole time and they knew it. That's what they saying.
Both of them were aware of that reputation. How do we know? Because in 2002, when New York Magazine wrote one of the first sort of now infamous profiles of Jeffrey Epstein, there was that quote from Trump where he says, "It's been said that Epstein likes beautiful women as much as I do." And then he flags that he likes them on the younger side. So that was part of Epstein's reputation that was trailing him around Palm Beach and certainly New York society. At the time, Hillary Clinton was obviously a senator from New York. The Clintons had already set up base in Chappaqua. Even if that was not yet his national reputation, anybody who operated in the New York circles in which the Clintons, as a former president and first lady, were then active, would have sort of known the scuttlebutt around him.
Okay. Does he appear in the files?
They say it was already out there. So they basically calling Clinton a lie.
Post Epstein conviction?
I have not seen any showing that Bill Clinton himself, in relation to an ongoing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, appears in the files after that period of time. However, I want to flag, we are all aware of the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell attended Chelsea Clinton's 2010 wedding after Epstein's original conviction and after he was done serving his time as the guest of a Clinton friend named Ted Waite. We understand from both Clintons that she was there solely in the capacity as Ted Waite's plus one, essentially. But again, there is no indication that Epstein was maintaining a correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm sorry, that Epstein was maintaining a correspondence with Bill Clinton or that he was maintaining a correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell independently after that time.
All right, let's talk about the slippery slope here and the precedent being set. Democrats say, Tara, that the Republicans are calling in a former president. They're calling in his spouse who says she didn't even know Jeffrey Epstein. Aren't you setting a precedent, they say, to allow us to interview Donald Trump, to allow us to interview potentially his
get in there.
spouses? You've done some reporting about another person that links Melania Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. We've seen her in photos, obviously. We keep showing them. We've also seen that correspondence between her and Ghislaine Maxwell, which was short and innocuous, at least on the outside. Who is this guy that you're writing about, and what link does he have?
So this is Antoine Berglas. He was a huge fashion photographer in the 1990s.
Oh, so he a link in the chain.
Cindy Crawford, Stephanie Seymour, Claudia Schiffer, all of the biggest models. And in fact, he propelled Melania Trump's career. He is the reason that she became famous. He did that famous GQ spread of her naked in Trump's plane. He also did a few other photographs of her Maxim Golf, where she's again naked, just covered in golf balls. They did about 12 sessions together, and he is responsible for her fame. And he was, found through her modeling agent, and this is around the same time that she was getting a visa. Now, at the same time, he maintained a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein from 2012 to 2017. That's after his conviction. He was photographing Epstein's girlfriends and their friends, and some of the pictures and some of the emails, it suggests that they were nude. He sent nude photos to Jeffrey Epstein. He sent many photos to Jeffrey Epstein. They worked together on shoots a number of times, and then
they send the nude pictures. Oh, okay, yeah, get him on there. He needs to testify too.
Really concerning.
Seemed like he might be part of it.
Forwarded to Jeffrey Epstein that was sent by him. About this drug scopolamine that takes away free will. It's basically a zombie drug, almost like leaves a person basically incapacitated. He said he doesn't remember the context of that drug, and that he said that they never did anything together with it. But there are a number of very concerning, interactions, especially the fact that he was still working for Jeffrey Epstein, after his conviction in 2008. And so, this is someone who made Melania Trump's career. And while it doesn't suggest that, Melania did anything wrong, it does show one degree of separation between the world, Melania, and the world that made her, this elite modeling world, and Jeffrey Epstein, a world that he easily exploited through visas. I mean, actually, this photographer, Julian Verglas, helped Epstein's girlfriend, Karina Shulia, get a visa. That's how close they appeared to be in these emails. So he's a reoccurring character. He shows up almost 600 times in the Epstein files, and he just so happens to be the man who made Melania.
All right, so we got a little perspective from them of since they questioned Bill and Hillary, should Trump and Melania be next, to be questioned by Congress? Should they have to answer questions? All right, so we got to get the reactions from the Republicans and the Democrats, guys, because they most definitely had a lot to say. It looked like the Democrats are up first. Let's see what they say about the questioning of Bill and Hillary Clinton, guys.
Committee to call him and ask him tough questions about what happened. He also made it clear that it was totally inappropriate for this committee to call Secretary Clinton. That's why personally I didn't even show up yesterday. I thought it was outrageous the way they treated Secretary Clinton. She has nothing to do with this. But President Clinton answered the questions. I think you'll see when we have the deposition that our side that put the survivors first. We had our members, our lawyers ask questions to get the basic facts and asked difficult questions, and the president answered. And it was civil, and he set the tone, in my view, for the precedent that President Trump needs to now come and answer these questions. That Howard Lutnick needs to answer these questions.
I just heard him say President Trump needs to answer those same questions that Bill and Hillary answered. Remember what I just asked y'all. Do y'all think this was a lead up to Trump and Melania, however you say her name, to be questioned as well?
That other people,
the Democrats believe so,
who've been in these files, need to come before this committee and ask these questions. And then that's the only way we're going to have accountability and healing.
Thank you. As you heard, President Clinton in his opening statement said that America was built on the idea that no person is above the law, even presidents, especially presidents. And the Democratic members of the Oversight Committee feel the same. No one is above the law, and anyone with knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes should absolutely come before the committee.
I agree with that.
To give testimony about what they saw or did. Who was there? Who was involved? Survivors.
All of them should be questioned.
Richard, who was my State of the Union guest, deserve the accountability and the truth. The American people deserve accountability and truth. That means a complete release of the files and cooperation, not obstruction, from Pam Bondi. And it means testimony on the record from anyone with information, whether that's Howard Lutnick, Bill Gates, Larry Summers, and yes, even and especially Donald Trump.
Hey, the Democrats calling them all out.
Where our state has taken action where the federal government has failed, we have reopened an investigation through our state attorney general into the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein and his associates in New Mexico, as well as passed the first state-level truth commission in this case ever passed in the history of the United States. We will be working very closely to make sure that the state is able to make a full accounting of the crimes in New Mexico. With regards to today's deposition, I want to be clear at the outset that President Clinton, as of today, has not been accused of a crime. There are not public files available that accuse him of a crime, whereas there are publicly available documents that do allege a crime of President Trump.
They is on Trump top, guys. They want Trump in there to testify.
But it is very well established that President Clinton had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and we are treating this investigation extraordinarily seriously. And when you see the recorded deposition, you will see that we asked all of the hard questions, centering the survivors, making sure...
Did they ask? We watched it. Did they ask the tough questions, guys? Let me know. Was that tough questioning to Bill and Hillary, guys? Let me know.
That we get to the bottom of where there are discrepancies in the record and understanding how not only the crimes that Jeffrey Epstein committed could go on, but why there was a culture that surrounded him wherein the rich and powerful turned a blind eye.
First off, I just thank you to President Clinton for coming here today to speak with us. answering these questions has been helpful for us as we will continue this investigation. Donald Trump, as we know, needs to come before this committee. He's been caught in multiple lies as it relates to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you, I've seen unredacted files myself that directly refute his assertion that he kicked out Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and the reasoning why he did that. Also, walking out of this, I can
The
tell you,
Democrats are on Trump, guys.
we all now have a lot of new questions that we have to raise as it relates to the reasoning on why Donald Trump had a falling out with Jeffrey Epstein in the first place. Another thing is that I saw about an hour ago, Donald Trump in a press conference said that Howard Lutnick is, quote, a very innocent guy. Donald Trump has asserted many times that he knew nothing of Epstein's crimes. If he doesn't know anything about Epstein,
how do he know who is guilty and who is not? Let's go. Let's go, Democrat.
Crimes. How can you know for sure that Howard Lutnick is, quote, a very innocent guy? We have questions for him. And I think what today is showing and what yesterday is showing is, of course, no one's above the law. That includes the President of the United States. And my hope is that our Republican colleagues, as we walk out of here today and go back to D.C., will join us in making sure that we can hear from Howard Lutnick, from Pam Bondi, and from President Trump.
I think today was a historic day for transparency in the United States of America. The fact that we have the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton, under oath, speaking to the Oversight Committee and answering questions in a transparent manner is critical. I look forward to the Republican majority listening to our demands of having the transcripts and the videos unedited of both depositions, today's and yesterday's, released immediately, because the American public deserves to hear and see these answers for themselves. And ultimately, this demonstrates that nobody is above the law. And my top concern at this moment is the ongoing White House cover-up. It is deeply concerning that we are seeing...
It does appear that something is being covered up, guys. I will give them that. You know, no matter how you look at it, it's a reason why we're not getting all these files. Like, why is there still 3 million files missing, but they're saying that they put all the files out? It just don't make sense.
Very coordinated machine from the President of the United States, continuously repeating that he has been exonerated. He just repeated that today to members of the Republican Party on the Oversight Committee, repeating that lie as well. There are very credible allegations that have been looked into and investigated by the FBI that the Department of Justice is illegally withholding. Please do not stop asking about this. Why is the DOJ continuing to defy the Epstein Files Transparency Act by refusing to release the full Epstein files, by illegally withholding information, by deleting photos and videos of people like Howard Lutnick? This is unacceptable. Donald Trump must be deposed immediately in front of this committee, as do many senior level officials from this administration.
If there was any doubt before today that oversight Democrats are treating this investigation in a nonpartisan way, it'll be put to rest when the transcripts come out. We've been asking the former president the hard questions. To his credit, he has answered every single question. He's not taken the Fifth Amendment. He's been actually quite comfortable, and he's actually given very long, deliberate answers to all these questions. And so we appreciate the former president being here today, and we would like to see the current president come before us as well and give the same kind of transparency that President Clinton has gave us.
Ain't gonna happen.
And we're going to continue to demand the release of the files.
I doubt it. Y'all gonna have to, but it's the only way y'all can get Trump in there if he's not the president no more.
Also continue to demand transparency of this administration.
President Clinton came here and answered tough questions. I think the victims and survivors, the American public, deserve a serious investigation, because thus far what we're seeing from Republicans is a very non-serious, as one of my colleagues referred to it, as a clown show. And having led serious investigations, I can't disagree when we hear members from the other side coming into a deposition with conclusions, get no evidence to support those conclusions, and then announce to the world that these conclusions must be true. That is unprofessional, it's unethical, and at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is get to the bottom of what actually happened so that we can hold any offenders accountable. Democrats are doing that. The president and former First Lady have done that, and now it's time for President Trump to do the exact same thing. Under oath, not when you can just make statements randomly on X or Truth Social, but under oath where your right hand is in the air and there are consequences if you don't tell the truth. And so we're going to continue to push for transparency. We're going to continue to push for justice because that's what the American people and the survivors deserve.
I want to just reiterate a couple of things that have been made, which are important. The first is that we're thankful that President Clinton came in and answered tough questions from both the minority party and the majority party. We also think it's important to note that, and he made some of these statements in his opening statement, he made it clear once again that he does not understand, nor do we, why we spent so much time yesterday grilling Secretary Clinton when she obviously had no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein.
Now go that question again. Why was they talking to Hillary? Why did they grill Hillary and she had nothing to do with nothing?
Never met Jeffrey Epstein. We also want to reiterate, and I want to think it's important for us to know, our call yesterday, because of transparency, it is so important that we continue to release both Secretary Clinton's deposition and President Clinton's deposition. Both of the Clintons are committed to these records getting out as soon as possible, and oversight Democrats agree. The best way of going forward is for there to be transparency and a full public record, and we're demanding that that record not be edited, but just a full recording of what transpired yesterday and what will continue to transpire today for the course of the day. And finally, let me just also say once again that we have a new precedent in this country where we can now demand president and former presidents to testify in front of the Oversight Committee. So we are once again demanding that now President Trump, who was in the Epstein files almost more than anyone else besides Ghislaine Maxwell, answer our questions. This is not a hoax. He has not been exonerated, and we have serious questions for President Trump. But with that, we'll answer a couple questions. Yeah, I think the best response to that is for you to view the complete record of what actually he said, which, look, we're not going to disclose what was said because
this is crazy, guys.
Not in the rules. The Republicans keep breaking the rules. But I think to what Mr. Frost said earlier, there was, I think that the President Clinton, did bring up some additional information about some discussions with President Trump. I think that the way Chairman Comer described it, I don't think is a complete accurate description of what actually was said. So let's release the full transcript so that you can get a full record of what actually was said, which brings up some very important new questions about comments that President Trump has actually said in the past. Any other questions? I think everybody would agree that he's been very cooperative and he's actually answering the questions fairly, I mean, to the best of his ability. He has not taken a pass on pleading the fifth for any questions. He's been very thorough. He's been asked some questions multiple times over. I think you'll see that in the transcript. So he's been very cooperative, and in fact, I don't think he's given any sense that he's been uncomfortable to be there. In fact, I think he's been pretty interested in answering, I think, all the questions of both the Republicans and the Democrats. With that, we're going to wrap up. Everyone's going to break, and then we'll continue. Thank you.
All right, so that's what the Democrats had to say. We got the Republicans coming right up, guys. All right, so the Democrats was a lot of Trump, get Trump in there, Trump. Let's see what the Republicans think about that, guys.
Well, our deposition of former President Clinton has concluded. I want to thank everyone for braving the cold and staying out here. I know it's been a very long day. We believe this was a very productive deposition. I will have to say that President Clinton answered every question or attempted to answer every question. We can talk about some of his answers in more detail, and I'm sure once the video is released and the transcript's released, not only will you, but a lot of people in America will have more questions about some of the answers that were given and where we go from here. But with respect to today, this was a long process, and I want to say this was historical. I believe that in the history of Congress, the two highest ranked officials to ever be deposed by Congress would be President Bill Clinton and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. This is a serious investigation. We will continue to try to get the truth to the American people and justice for the victims. But I think a consistent theme continues to persist throughout all the people that we bring in. Obviously, the government failed the victims. There was justice was not served in Palm Beach when Epstein was first arrested. We're very concerned about that. We still have lots of questions about how Epstein accumulated so much wealth, and we will continue to bring some more people in and try to get answers. I'm going to yield to the other committee members, but every member of the committee participated both days and asked very good questions. Ms. Mays?
Yes, I want to thank President Clinton for being here today. He was here for a very long day. He did attempt to respond to every single question asked, even when his attorneys told him to shut up. He kept, going. I think there's agreement too on everybody who was here on both sides of the aisle that we want to get to the bottom of this, whether Jeffrey Epstein was an intel asset or honeypot operation, sex trafficker, prostitution ringleader, financier of Ponzi schemes, financial crimes, etc. There is an effort, I believe, and a belief that we need to get to the bottom of this because justice was not served in the Southern District of New York. It was not served in Palm Beach, and it certainly hasn't been served for many victims around the world who are victims of this operation. I want to thank my colleagues on both sides of the aisle for their questions today. Representative Stansberry had a lot of courageous questions. She showed bravery today. She and I never get along. Sometimes, in fact, can be seen arguing on oversight. But I say that because this is a place that is not partisan. This is a place where the country is seeing Republicans and Democrats work together to figure this out, find the truth.
The Republicans feel like they did the best job they can do.
And try to come up with solutions so that when this happens, women are believed, men are prosecuted, their abuses are prosecuted, and justice can be seen and can be done. And I want to thank everyone for their hard work. I think I can't say anything about the questions and answers today or yesterday, but I will comment that I believe you'll see some inconsistencies in some of the responses. I brought that to the forefront this afternoon. Thank you.
I'd like to close by saying that we do intend to follow up and bring in, and I know that that's up to the chairman's discretion, but some of the co-conspirators that were given lesser sentences that were known to have trafficked young girls. Unacceptable. There's a difference between a victim and someone who engaged in prostitution and the trafficking of minors, and that needs to be clarified. I will again hold to the same thing that I said earlier, and that I do believe, and I'm sure some people on this committee also believe, that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset and running some form of a honeypot operation. I do believe that President Clinton, as well as the secretary, were potentially targets of that operation, and we will leave it at that. And I look forward to seeing you all react to the depositions, as I think that this is information that's important and belongs to the American people.
I want to reiterate what some of my colleagues have said. I want to salute our chairman, James Comer, for putting together an extremely professional deposition these last 2 days. Factual. This was not a highly partisan event like most of our hearings are when we're in Washington. We were there to ask direct questions. I think President Clinton today was quite candid, probably more candid than his attorneys were comfortable with. But I think that this will, obviously when we release the video of this, I mean, you'll have the opportunity to digest it. But we do have to get justice for the victims, because in all of the political food fight of Washington, D.C., what is getting lost is the fact that there are victims that deserve justice.
Depositions like this are important because we need to get answers. We need justice for the victims. Epstein,
depositions are important. We need to get Trump in there.
His associates committed unspeakable evil, and I'm glad that President Clinton and Hillary came out here. What I believe I saw over the last 2 days was selective memory. Very good details back into the 90s, and in other times, I don't know, I don't recall. So we have more questions to answer. Thank you.
Well, we're going to bring more people in. We're not finished. We didn't want to announce names before today. It was so hard to get the Clintons in. I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize losing them. I think we learned some things. We were hoping to get more, but there were many questions, as you will see, hopefully in the next 24 hours when the videos were released, that there were a lot of very specific questions about very specific documents and correspondence that were subpoenaed by that we got from the Department of Justice, as well as the Epstein estate. Many times the Clintons couldn't recall or didn't know or denied that they were pertaining to them. So, but I do think that we picked up some new facts. We asked both Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton where we should go from here as a committee, because we're sincere about trying to get the truth to the American people and hold some bad actors accountable in this. We've got one employee that does the videography, and he had to do the videography today too. So we're going to try to release those. Yeah, well, the transcript has to be approved by the attorney. So the video could very likely come out before the transcripts. Once the transcribers were in here, we had a whole team of transcribers. They're going to, put it on paper. Then both sides will get to approve the transcripts. Then we'll release it. That's standard rules of deposition. We always do that. We will do that with the videos as quick as we can get them all uploaded and cleaned up, any background noise or anything like that. Then we will release them hopefully in the next 24 hours. Well, we have a lot of questions about anyone who spent time with Epstein post conviction, the first conviction. I think that's where, and if anyone disagrees, feel free to speak up. But I think that's where most of our concerns are. Once you knew Jeffrey Epstein,
you ain't heard nothing but about the Clintons, not too much about Trump and them at all from the Republicans.
A sex offender, why did you continue a relationship? So stay tuned on that.
CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman joins me now. Hi there, Katrina. So what more do we know about former President Clinton's testimony?
Elaine, we know that former President Bill Clinton was questioned for over 5 hours, including about photos that came out in the Epstein files. There's that photo of Bill Clinton. He's in a hot tub with a woman. He was asked about her. He said that he didn't recall who she was. And when questioned, he said that he did not have sex with her. There is some dispute about what former President Bill Clinton said about President Trump during this deposition. Now, what James Comer has said, Representative James Comer, is that Clinton said it's for you to decide to the committee whether to call in President Trump, that he said Trump had never said anything to him that made him think he was involved with or had any wrongdoing with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, what Representative Robert Garcia said is that this is a mischaracterization. They should release this, which they ultimately will, so the public can decide for themselves. There was also some talk about what their falling out was over between President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Representative Maxwell Frost posted on X that former President Clinton said Trump had said the falling out was over a land dispute. Trump has previously said it was over Epstein's behavior. So we're getting some new information out of this, and ultimately we will all get to see what happened in there.
So what is next for this committee, Katrina? And do we know what the Clintons' testimony in particular will be used for?
We don't know exactly, but all of this is part of an ongoing investigation. Of course, if there's ever any concern about potential perjury or further crimes or possible co-conspirators, those will be pursued. We don't yet know who else they will call, but there's been talk about Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who appeared in photographs with Jeffrey Epstein, who said he went to his island. Representative Anna Maria Luna, after this deposition, also said that they were planning to bring in other co-conspirators who were not charged, that they need to be brought to justice.
I wonder who those people will be, guys. Who will be the next people, to be questioned over the Epstein files? Who y'all think, guys? Do y'all think that they're going to be able to get Trump in there? Just asking, man. I'm just asking. Did y'all hear about the situation in Austin, guys? Where they're talking about sleeper cells. Yeah, man. I don't think they're going to get Trump in there, but I saved that for after this next video. I wanted to bring y'all up to speed on something that took place in Austin, Texas, guys. There was a mass shooting situation where I think 3 people were unalived and like 12 were injured. Did y'all hear about that? Let me know if y'all heard about that. It is crazy, man. Hold on. Let's go here, man. Sleeper
shooting at a
cells.
bar in Austin, Texas over the weekend as a possible terrorist attack. 2 people were killed there, 14 others were wounded. Police shot and killed the gunman, who used both a pistol and a rifle in the Sunday morning attack. He was spotted wearing a sweatshirt reading, quote unquote, property of Allah, and a shirt featuring the flag emblem of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Also, a Quran was also
This
found.
is the dude that did it. Property of Allah. And he also had a Quran, guys.
In his vehicle. Joining me now is the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. Governor, thank you so much for being here. You're worried about the threat of sleeper cells activated here at home. How worried should we be following Operation Epic Fury? Give us your insights this morning, sir.
So, Maria, has to be taken seriously, and that's exactly why
Governor Hot Wheels
on Saturday morning we made clear to the public that the state of Texas is taking seriously about the possibility of terrorist activity, lone wolf activity, exactly what happened here in Austin, Texas. And you oftentimes see when there's a war breaking out like this, where the United States may be going against a country like Iran, that you could have either sleeper cells or lone wolves acting. And that's exactly why we increased the number of Texas Department of Public Safety officers.
So Greg Abbott feels like the threat of sleeper cells is real, guys. I'm in Texas. This directly affects me. You know, that's why I need my Texas people to pay attention to what Governor Abbott is saying.
Should be patrolling the streets and patrolling sensitive areas, and why I deployed the Texas National Guard to do the same thing so that we could be as prepared as possible for things like this happening. Obviously, you've seen, and Fox has reported, how this guy acted the way you pointed out, wearing an Allah T-shirt, a T-shirt representing sympathies with Iran, as well as the Quran. And there are other details that will be coming out about the shooter and his connections to terrorism that will make clear this was a lone wolf activity where this shooter intended to wreak havoc here in Texas, here in the United States, because of his ties and sympathies with Iran. It calls into question a lot of people like that who are here in the United States, who came from other countries, that the United States has to do a far better job in trying to vet and evaluate and ongoingly evaluate those who've come to our country who could pose a danger.
Well, that's right. And for years, you single-handedly protected.
This happened on 6th Street in Austin, Texas, guys. A guy went crazy with a rifle, and I think he unalived 3 people and injured 12, guys. And had a book that's, basically a Quran. Basically, they feeling like these are sleeper cells within America that are activating now that the situation has went on in Iran with the U.S. and Iran.
The border, you, and of course, once President Trump got back in office, he was the game changer. But throughout the Biden years, it was you protecting the border from illegals coming in, the Biden administration creating worries because we don't know who came in. From February 2021 to November 2024, more than 1,700 Iranian nationals crossed the southern border, Governor, and that could be a naive low number. What is your assessment of who's coming in and who came in during those years and what kind of threat they represent today?
Well, listen, the Trump administration and others have done a very good job of doing their best to try to document all of these people who have been crossing the border. There were known terrorists that Joe Biden led into the country. There were known murderers, rapists, and other criminals that Joe Biden allowed into the country. And when they got into the country, they were allowed to disperse across the entire United States of America. One struggle that the President Trump is dealing with is trying to locate all of these very dangerous people that were admitted by Joe Biden and make sure we get to them before they harm anybody else. And that's exactly what's taking place right now. In Texas, we have 4 Joint Terrorism Task Force. We have 8 fusion centers, all of which are working around the clock as we speak right now, looking for any type of dangerous terrorist activity that could be arising in the state of Texas. We need to see the same thing taking place across the United States of America because We know that dangerous people like that exists in our states, and we need a collaborative, broad sweeping effort by local, state, and federal officials to root out all these terrorists that were allowed in by Joe Biden and make sure we get them, arrest them, and deport them.
Yeah, and let me just point out that when President Trump, in his first term, told us the facts that they were letting in murderers, rapists, etc., he was mocked by the left, mocked by the establishment. Everything he said was correct. And now we are all, unfortunately, feeling the brunt of it. Just last week, you announced an order increasing Department of Public Safety agents along the southern border, as you just said, over this threat of new cartel violence in Mexico. Growing threats of retaliation from Iran as well. Tell us about the Mexico situation, because we know that the Mexican cartels have been running Mexico.
We don't want to talk about all that just yet. Let's get back to Austin, guys, where this terrible situation occurred yesterday, guys. Very crazy. Check it out. This is most definitely for educational purposes only. I'm showing my viewers what took place in Austin, man, where police basically had to do their jobs, guys, and get this situation under control as a man went crazy and basically opened shots on 6th Street in Austin. Behind who? God knows what.
There are families right now that are unfortunately identifying their loved ones. We have families that are at hospital rooms waiting for outcomes from surgery. That's the reality of what we're dealing with today.
Tonight, Austin police investigate a mass shooting early this morning on West 6th Street. The tragedy occurred at Buford's, a local bar, a popular one, around 2 a.m. The shooting left 3 people, including the suspect, dead and more than a dozen others injured.
The Austin Police Department shared this photo of the man suspected of carrying out the shooting. APD has identified
This is the man that did it.
him as Ndiaga Diagne, a naturalized American citizen who was born in Senegal.
In this photo obtained by CBS News, the suspect can be seen wearing a sweatshirt. We have that photo for you with the words "Property of Allah" on it. And the AP reports he's wearing a shirt with an Iranian flag design underneath. This shooting happened after the U.S. and Israelis' joint strike on Iran yesterday, which killed Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah al-Khamenei.
APD says the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force has now joined the investigation based on this preliminary evidence found at the scene. We do have live team coverage tonight from 2 key locations in this investigation. CBS Austin's Andrew Lamparski is standing by to share what a federal investigation could look like.
But we start with CBS Austin's Vinny Martirano, who is live near West 6th Street where the shooting happened. Vinny, what does it look like over there now? Very active investigation for most of the day.
Yeah, Walt Adela, we can see that some of the police presence and the caution tape in the area has started to leave this scene. Some of the barricades that were lining up along West 7th Street, just a block from where we're at, have been moved, which has allowed us over here to the front of Buford's for this live shot tonight. And now that, you know, throughout the rest of this evening and into the night hours, as we still see police here investigating this tragedy, the Austin community and some city leaders are shaken by what happened here last night. This
Lord
is the
have
best
mercy,
will
guys.
forever stay in his college experience. He says one of his friends was shot and injured during a mass shooting downtown early Sunday morning.
There's a pit in your stomach. You just can't believe it. It just missed his vitals. It could have been much worse.
Coda says he recorded that video after hearing more than 15 gunshots being fired
Wow,
into Buford's on West 6th Street. This happened right before the bar closed this morning at 2 a.m. Then there was another round of bullets.
If I had stopped to grab water or if I'd seen a friend on the way out of the bar, stayed for 4 or 5 more minutes, now I'm on the patio when he drives by in the car.
We know that a vehicle, a large SUV, drove several times around the block. At one point, he put his flashers on, rolled down his window, and began using a pistol shooting out of his car.
Man, he didn't care who
Chief
he
Lisa
hit.
Davis says the suspect then parked around the block and continued shooting, later being confronted by 3 Austin police officers who were on nearby East 6th Street. Austin police
Wow,
says the
guys.
shooting left 2 people dead.
That is
14 others
crazy.
injured. The suspect died at the scene after being shot by police. The Department of Homeland Security confirms the suspect is 53-year-old Ndiaga Diagne, a naturalized U.S. citizen originally from Senegal. Law enforcement tells the Associated Press he was wearing a sweatshirt that said, quote, property of Allah, and another shirt with an Iranian flag design. The attack on the downtown bar happened a day after the United States and Israel's joint...
Could these actually be linked, guys? Could the situation in Austin actually be linked, or is this just a crazy man, who wanted to act like he was a part of what Iran had going on?
Coordinated attack against Iran. The FBI is now joining APD's investigation.
There were indicators on the subject and in his vehicle that indicate potential nexus to terrorism.
Also, Travis County EMS says the first medics and Austin police officers got here in less than a minute, which some city officials like Mayor Kirk Watson say played a critical role in keeping many people not only safe, but alive in this tragedy. We'll hear more about that coming up later in this newscast.
Thank you, Vinny. UT President Jim Davis shared a message after the shooting, which he says impacted some members of the Longhorn family. In it, he thanked first responders and his dedicated staff for, quote, communicating with families and students, visiting those injured in hospitals, and providing care and support throughout the day. In a statement tonight, University of Texas Police say they'll have increased patrols across campus and in the West Campus neighborhood all week.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott is directing DPS to increase patrols and add more law enforcement in the 6th Street area following that shooting. It comes alongside a directive he issued yesterday to secure vital energy facilities, ports, and the border in the wake of the strike on Iran. In a statement, Governor Abbott says, quote, Texans mourn with the families and loved ones of those who were horrifically killed.
Tragedy, guys. 3 people passed, 12 people injured.
Tonight's attack
in Austin,
Texas. This act of violence will not define us, nor will it shake the resolve of Texans.
The investigation into the overnight mass shooting has expanded beyond 6th Street now as federal investigators work a potential link to terrorism. CBS Austin's Andrew Lemparski is live from downtown Austin tonight. And Andrew, what do we know so far?
Is it my sound or theirs?
We heard
their sound. All right, that's their sound, not mine.
In a potential terrorist attack like this one with ties to terrorism, there will be an international component to the investigation.
Former special agent for the Department of Homeland Security, Ari Jimenez, says the investigation into the Austin shooting could go global.
On the moment that we heard of combat operations over Iran, it's expected that there's going to be retaliation by these groups of fanatics and terrorists.
Tonight, CBS News reports while investigators executed a search warrant at the gunman's home, they found an Iranian flag and photos of Iranian leaders. Just one day.
Oh, he had an Iranian flag and Iranian leaders in his house, guys. Was he the real deal or somebody just crazy? Let me know.
Day after U.S. and Israeli operations killed the country's supreme leader. The FBI announcing a potential link to terrorism during a press conference Sunday morning.
What qualifiers are there when determining something is in fact linked to terrorism?
It's going to be they've got to conduct their investigation, look for some of the evidence within their car, look for his social media activity to see if there's any connections to any outside groups, any terrorist groups.
Abel Pena, a former FBI agent with 26 years of experience, says the FBI is going to be thorough in determining a motive.
It's going to be a long-term investigation. As far as this individual here, I think they're going to run down all the leads just to kind of vet things out to see who he was involved in.
The investigation today ranging from 6th Street to a home in Pflugerville connected to the suspect, where federal agents spent hours. As the Austin Police Department coordinates with federal law enforcement, still no official word. This was an act of terror.
Based on my previous investigative experience, right now, no rock is left unturned.
Now, former agents tell me federal agents are likely looking into who else could potentially be involved in this, who may have supported the gunman, whether it be financially, physically, or in online communities. Again, you just heard these agents are looking at all possibilities here. For now, reporting live in downtown Austin, Andrew Lamparski, CBS Austin News.
Thank you, Andrew. We are the live music capital of the world, and 6th Street is well known across the country for its nightlife. However, there have been several mass violence incidents that have happened in recent years. Most notably, in the summer of 2021, one person was killed and 13 others injured in a shooting on 6th Street. The 19-year-old gunman, DeAndre White, says he opened fire during a fight between him and his friends and another group. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison for the murder of 25-year-old Doug Cantor. Last year, 4 people were hurt in a shooting at an Austin nightclub called the Lit Lounge. 17-year-old Troy Lee Tanksley was arrested and charged with aggravated assault mass shooting. In 2022, 4 people were injured in a shooting on 6th Street near Netchess Street near the Toulouse Bar.
In 2021, Austin police launched the Safer 6th Street initiative after that deadly mass shooting. This led to the city installing high-activity location observation, or HALO, cameras to be the eyes over 6th Street. Austin Travis County EMS also established a medical services staging area near 6th Street, which officials credit today for the quick response for the shooting. And in 2025, concrete barriers were installed on 6th Street that run along both sides for 2 blocks. The project was part of a long-term effort to make the area safer and more welcoming.
South by Southwest starts in just over a week now, and safety concerns are top of mind.
CBS Austin reached out to South by Southwest to see if they are making any changes amid this morning's shooting.
South by Southwest is a big music thing in Texas. Underground artists as well as major artists go there to showcase their music, guys. Yeah, very big deal that happens on 6th Street every year. They say it's a week away, man. I don't know. They might need to chill. These people done lost their mind these days.
In a statement, they say they were devastated by the tragedy and says, quote, year-round, South by Southwest works closely with local, state, and federal law enforcement and public safety agencies to plan for a safe South by Southwest. They continued saying, we will continue to stay in close coordination with our public safety and city partners, and will provide additional updates as they become available.
Last year, the city of Austin worked for months to make the event as safe as possible, including putting new kinds of barriers in place. Police also roll out additional patrols in areas of increased activity like the Red River District and 6th Street. If you or someone you know was at the scene last night, APD has set up a victim services hotline. If you're missing any personal items from last night.
All right, guys. So that's the situation going on in Austin, Texas, where it appears a madman has basically went crazy, and opened fire on people who were partying, guys. This is the guy right here that did this. Make sure you're double tapping that screen. If you have not, that's how you hit the like button. If you are just now getting here, double tap that screen if you're on a mobile device, or click the 3 dots in the right hand corner. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Most definitely subscribe to the channel if you are new. But this is the person that did that in Austin, guys. He has on a Property of Allah shirt. And I think that they said he had either Iranian flag or Israeli flag or whatever. He is tied to a terror group. And it's crazy, y'all. This took place yesterday in Austin, as I said, on 6th Street. We also looked over the depositions of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, guys. They testified in front of Congress. The Republicans said, hey, man, there's some good footage. You guys go react to it, go look at it, and see if you believe what they're saying or not, which also led to questions of why Hillary Clinton was questioned in the first place, seeing that she said that she knows nothing about the entire situation. She was never at the island. She never was on a plane. That was all Bill. Bill said he was on business. He did nothing wrong. He got into that hot tub because he was asked to get off into the hot tub. He got a back massage by some young lady that I think somebody said in the chat was 22. basically he said he did nothing wrong, guys, and he severed ties just as Trump says he severed ties with Epstein as soon as he found out what Epstein was doing. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. I most definitely gave you the Democrats and the Republican side of each thing, and we also watched key moments from within the deposition. If you missed that, make sure you run the video back, man, and watch it from the beginning. But that's my 2 hours, guys. That's all I have for y'all today. Make sure if you subscribe to the channel that you turn your notification bell on to all so you don't miss anything when everything news goes live with the most latest and breaking news, all the updates. Probably tomorrow I'll be covering the situation going on in Iran a little bit earlier than I did tonight, man. So y'all look forward to me like mid-afternoon, you know, or maybe even noon, depending on when I wake up. But I most definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all who watch the content. Shout out to everybody that subscribed, my new subscribers as well as my old subscribers. Shout out to all of my members. I'm most definitely nothing without y'all. Yes, memberships are available on the page. All you have to do is go to the home screen of the page or go to any video and check the description box. It most definitely has a link for anybody that would be looking to get a membership to support the channel. It's the same price as a bag of chips these days. $5, man. You know what I'm saying? Support the channel, man. If you yeah, most definitely support the channel. Grab you one of those memberships. Shout out to my moderators, guys. I'm most definitely nothing without y'all. Appreciate each and every moderator I have in here. You know, I know sometimes that chat get crazy, and y'all most definitely keep that chat rolling smooth, so I appreciate y'all. And to the rest, man, y'all have a great early morning. You know, it's plenty more to come. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of updates on the Iran situation. Tomorrow, we'll most definitely be covering that once again. And with that being said, Sidewalk Gang, checking out. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be safe. I'm gone.